Hey guys, this week's episode is brought to you by buffalosbigdeal.com. What's the big deal? It's free. Their deals get you 50% off your favorite local places. No need to pay for a gift certificate. Simply download, print, and display your voucher when you visit. So head to buffalosbigdeal.com after this podcast. Today's guest is Adam Kern, the owner of My Buffalo Shirt. Adam came down and talked about starting a t-shirt company, his success so far, and his love of beer and wine.
I think you sent me a text a couple days ago about that you were doing your like pre-taxes and you noticed how many shirts you sold this year.
Yeah, every time I do my quarterly taxes, I keep tabs of the number of shirts and sizes.
Yeah.
Just for record-keeping purposes. And I realized that this last quarter I sold over 1,000 t-shirts.
Is that your record so far?
Oh, yeah.
Like by a pretty good amount?
Every year has been going up and up, and which is awesome, you know, and it's just funny to see that number hit over 1,000 in a quarter.
That's serious, man.
Yeah,
that's a lot of shirts.
A lot of work.
Yeah, I mean, so like we were saying before we started, like you've really been hitting the festivals this year. I know last year you hit up Allentown.
We did 2 last year, and this year we did 4.
Okay.
One was a small one, was at Citybration, the first time we tried that.
Okay.
But we did Allentown, Canal Fest, Citybration, and Eden Corn Festival.
Nice.
And then looking at a couple more, maybe in the fall, winter.
How did those work out? I mean, it's a big foot traffic, but I think it's still kind of a little risky to go to those festivals because I know it's like, you know, it costs a pretty good amount to get a tent and all that stuff.
Yeah, you know, it's always about the investment versus how much t-shirts you sell. And, you know, if you look at it, every festival's worth the while. Whether or not you sell a ton of shirts, you still get the foot traffic, you still get the advertising.
Yeah, you're putting your name out there.
Yeah, and so it's a win-win either way. It's just you got to put the time in, just like anything.
Yeah.
But
how was it this year? Pretty good? Or I know what is it, the Eden Corn Fest? You kind of got blown away a little bit.
Yeah, our tent almost blew away with that. I had Christy, the photographer that did a lot of photos on my site, help me out from a pinch.
Yeah.
And I told her to come a little bit later because there's something going on that she couldn't get in parking wise. So she was there for an hour. It started raining, and then the rain picked up, and it was coming sideways, winds 50 miles an hour, and the tent was starting to lift, and it blew everything over.
Jeez.
And the thing that really was a bummer is that the drain spout for this building that we were up against was right behind our tent. So all the water coming off the roof was coming right down through our tent.
Jesus. I mean, that's the risky part. I mean, you're praying for good weather.
Oh, absolutely.
Because if it rains all day,
depends on the weather.
Yeah, nobody's coming by.
It's like Allentown. The first day that opened, Allentown Art Festival, that is. First day, Saturday, it rained. It sucked, but we actually did better Saturday than we did Sunday. And it was funny just talking with all the other booth vendors.
Yeah.
They were saying how they were doing so much better on Sunday because it's sunny and the weather and people are coming out.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't know if it was just where we were or the amount of people. We had a good product or something, but we did better on Saturday by probably about 20 shirts than Sunday.
Yeah. So, I mean, at this point, it's safe to say that, like, My Buffalo Shirt is popular as it's been since you started it, which was, what, a couple of years ago right now?
The first design, the hockey shirt, I came out with in 2008, so it's been a couple of years now.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I'm sure I've seen on, like, the Twitter the Facebook page, like, I've seen you take pictures of people, like, out in the wild, like, so to speak. Like, how has that been, like, increasing? Like, have you started seeing your shirt? I mean, when me and Ellie are somewhere, like, I'll see the shirts and I'll be like, oh, shit, like, that's one of Adam's shirts. Like, is that still a cool feeling?
Yeah, it's kind of what drives me, you know, because you put in all the hard work. I'm at my print shop hours at end, you know, late at night printing these shirts, and it sometimes is a little rough, but, you know, at the end, you see people actually wearing the shirt, and you realize that they actually chose your shirt out of all the other shirts that were possible they could have worn that particular day, but they chose My Buffalo Shirt, which is a cool feeling because you see them walking. Like, I saw a couple people at the harbor.
Nice.
Dingus Day, that was cool. That was right when I came out with the Polish shirt, too.
Yeah. I mean, do you go up to him and say anything, or do you just, like, sit back and be like, that's sweet?
Sometimes. You know, it depends on what mood I am, really. I mean, if I throw back a couple, then I'm like, hey, yo, dude, that's my shirt. I think Dingus Day, I was going up to people and just taking their picture and trying to get as many people. I was trying to make it out to the terminal, but that didn't make it out that far.
No. It's a little, that might be a long day.
Yeah, I heard there was quite a line there, too, so.
Oh, really? Yeah. I've yet to go out there for that. I need to do that eventually. It sounds like it's a fun time.
It is. There's a ton of people.
Yeah.
I just remember the one year we went for the very first time, and I think I waited in line for like 15 minutes to go take a pee, and it sucked.
So let's talk about your start into the t-shirt, I guess, industry, because it actually wasn't with My Buffalo Shirt. I remember in high school. Was it high school when you started?
I think so, yeah.
Almost Famous.
Senior year, a little bit after.
Yeah.
In college. Yeah, I started with a clothing line called Almost Famous, which is kind of a streamlined clothing line that had like tattoo inspired, kind of more of the early Affliction stuff, but that I was working on. And then it just kind of transitioned into...
Well, I mean, what even made you want to start doing t-shirts? Like, did you just like see t-shirts out there and wish like that you could have a specific one that nobody was making, or like,
to tell you the truth, I was going through magazines. It was back when rock magazines were popular, and
when the magazine industry wasn't dying as it is now.
And to see all these advertisements for clothing companies, and I always thought to myself, I could do that. Like, I could draw, I could put together, good computer whiz sort of skill.
Yeah.
So I just go on there and started creating designs and see if actually people had an interest in buying them, and that's kind of where it went. And then I started getting them into tattoo shops.
Okay.
And then I started getting tattoos.
That's a nice. That could be a good trade-off, I guess. Nice. I mean, so like, did it take a lot of like research and to figure out like how to actually make a t-shirt? Because when I have an idea of like what it is to make a t-shirt, and then when I went over to your shop, like it's a completely different thing than what I thought it was. Like how was like the learning curve, like figuring all that stuff out?
It took a while. I pretty much taught myself, and some of the early t-shirts I think I still have at my shop somewhere, but they're pretty rough. It started just with your basic stencils and your spray painting, and then just coming up with different creative designs until I really researched the whole screen printing industry and hand presses, and just throwing more money in and getting better equipment and getting better quality shirts. And that's something that I continue to do too. And
I mean, so you've told me before, and I always forget the specifics, but I mean, like, what is the process that, because you told me like it's a kind of like a specific like high quality thing that you do, discharge ink or something?
Yeah, a lot of my Buffalo shirt line is using discharge ink, which is a special type of ink that actually dyes the shirt fabric. Okay. So when you actually wash it, you can't feel the ink. Okay. It's a soft feel. Okay. And that's actually what a lot of the industry is going toward. Especially if you go to Hot Topic and you see all the shirts. Okay. I noticed the other day they're all more slim-fitting shirts with discharge ink, and it's kind of gone that style because it's got the edgy vintage look to it. Yeah, yeah. I mean, do you like follow like? Is there like clothing industry like websites or magazines or something? Or I do follow a couple clothing companies. One of my favorite clothing companies, Johnny Cupcakes. I don't know if you ever heard of that before. Yeah, I've heard of him. Yeah. But yeah, he's a young guy that just started out with his own and come to a t-shirt company with a cupcake and crossbones is making a couple $1 million a year, Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, I mean, so at what point did Almost Famous shut down and My Buffalo Shirt like pick up? Like what was the change there? Business started going slow, and it just started wanting to do something different, I guess. Okay. Then I started getting into a clothing line called My Skull Shirt, which is just designs all just had a skull in it. And then I really wanted to focus on like a niche market, especially I'm a big Buffalo fan. Yeah. And so I came out with the Buffalo hockey shirt, and people liked it. And so I just started doing designs more toward the Buffalo industry. And, there is a ton of Buffalo t-shirt companies here. And especially in, like, the last couple of years, there's been, like, a real explosion of, like, of Buffalo shirts. And I think, like, I ever since, like, the, what is it, Celebrate Buffalo, the Buffalo whatever, like, those, like, I seem, like, to be, like, the coming out party for local shirts. But it's such a simple design, too. Yeah. And, people eat it up. Yeah. And it's nuts. Yeah. And people pay premium prices for those like hoodies and everything. And he got into the Sabre store, and that's a cool accomplishment for him, Yeah. But with me doing all these festivals, you always scope out, I don't want to say competition, but all the other Buffalo t-shirt companies, you know?
Yeah. I mean, is there like a community of you guys? Like, do you know any of the other people, or is it fairly competitive still?
You know what? It's real down to earth. All the guys that I've met are all trying to sell their shirt, trying to make a couple bucks, but at the same time too, my feeling is that we're all in it together.
Yeah.
And even, you know, when Eden Corn Festival, that huge storm kit, one of the other t-shirt companies stopped over and made sure we were okay.
Yeah.
So it's a cool little community, you know, we're all kind of helping each other out.
That's good. Yeah. I mean, obviously, you know, if somebody starts stealing designs or things like that, then I'm assuming it would go sour, but...
Right.
But...
Thank God it hasn't got to that point yet. But so, I don't know. I don't think anybody would.
No. And it would be so obvious and so, I mean, blatant, especially with the small community that we have here, that, like, it would be outed pretty quickly.
And there's been a ton of them, too, you know, and it's kind of strange how a couple last for a couple years and they die, and a couple of new ones pop up and they kind of die off. And...
Yeah, it definitely goes in waves of how, like, at least when I've seen them and things like that, just at least noticing their shirt designs that they'll come and go. Yeah, but I mean, it seems like you guys have been, you know, just steadily increasing the whole time.
Well, this isn't my full-time gig.
Well, yeah.
So it's kind of that side project that you continue to work on.
Yeah.
And I have fun doing it. And I told myself, until the point where I stop having fun, that's when I'm going to stop doing it. But it's
how many hours on top of your job are you putting in this thing? I mean, because you have a 40-hour-a-week job.
Yep.
And then how many hours are you at the shop printing shirts?
Between my shop and at home doing designing or doing paperwork, it's probably a good 30 to 40 hours.
Jeez.
But it's come to second nature. I was just talking to somebody about this, and like when you're home, you're just doing stuff and you're not even realize like you're doing time for your company.
Yeah, it's just, you know, you have to do it.
Yeah.
That's insane. So I mean, how has My Buffalo Shirts evolved? Because I mean, at first it was pretty much sports like themed, as I remember, and then recently you've gotten into like themed. So you've had like the Irish one, the brewery one.
Yep, that's the latest one.
Yeah, and then like the Polish one. Like how have those ideas evolved over like the last 4 years or so, I guess?
You know, partly demand. When I'm doing festivals, people give me so many ideas. Some of them are really crazy, some are off the wall, but some of them are pretty cool. I've gotten, you know, the Polish one was a real popular idea, and I really hesitated to do a Polish design.
Yeah.
But people kept pushing it, and I just sat down one day and just started it, drawing freehand and a Polish eagle, and just put all the elements together, and it's actually one of my most popular shirts.
Really?
Yeah. And the brewing design, you know, I love beer.
Yeah, we'll get into that momentarily.
And that, I just kind of sat down, and, you know, a lot of my designs come organically. They come from help from others, maybe a little tidbit.
Yeah, I mean, so for the most part, you pretty much design it all on your own. Okay, yeah. So
I get inspiration from other people, and then sometimes people help me. Like my tattoo artist, when I'm getting tattooed, he maybe does a little sketch for me, and it's like, hey, try this.
Nice. I mean, because your shirts do have. I mean, you mentioned that your first one had like a tattoo theme, but these still have like a very tattoo essence to them, or something.
Well, that's the premise, because I want to make them different than all the other t-shirt companies. They're so classical, you know. They're so simple.
Yeah, like, and they're. I don't want this to come off, but they're very clean.
Yeah.
And yours are a little bit more of a messy look, I want to say. Yeah, and so that's like a conscious effort that like
absolutely.
your thing that you're going for.
I want to go the edgy vintage look, something out of the ordinary, something that's a little bit off the wall, but you can still wear during the day. Yeah, or still wear out, you know.
Yeah. And so also you've recently got into doing like designs, like custom designs too, right? Has that always been a part of the business, or is that like just recently? Because I've seen, like, for anyone who hasn't seen on Facebook, like you've done the Roaming Buffalo shirt.
Yep, that was a fun one.
The I Love BJ
Bacon Jam. Yep.
Yeah. I'm sure that'll be very popular for them.
Yep, they have it hanging up in their truck right now, selling for $20, I believe.
Nice.
But yeah, I dabble a little bit here and there. I try to stay focused on my line, but sometimes downtime, just pick up odd jobs like I know I helped you out on a couple of your designs here and there.
Yeah, you were the man behind our shirts that sold pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, those came out really nice.
And it's always fun helping other people out, you know?
Yeah. I mean, is it still as easy to put in those extra hours when it's not your own shirt, or I guess it's just still just like, you know, any other time going into the shop?
It's any other job. It's still fun. Like I said, like I told you the other day, I really enjoyed printing your shirts. It's you know, that buffalo taking a bite out of. A lot of people had a lot of compliments on those too.
I've been getting that, like people who bought a couple have been like saying they've worn them out to like the farmer's market or like the grocery store, and people like go up to them and be like, ask them where the hell they got that. And even Lake Effect ice cream, they put one in their door.
Oh, I did see that on Facebook.
Yeah, so yeah. It's been pretty cool. It was a good response. I hope I think I have an idea for an October shirt, but I have to finalize it in my head before. But I think we're gonna do like another limited edition shirt. So, and
as you know, it takes a lot of time to research and put together, and all come together in the end. You know. Yeah,
which is crazy that you're doing like all of those parts on your own. Yeah. Like design and everything. I mean, have you ever considered like bringing anyone in to help? Or
I actually have. This summer I had my coworker and his girlfriend helped me out on a lot of the festivals. And he did my website.
Oh, so nice.
He kind of helped me learn the HTML, PHP, and I can do the fixes on the side.
Yeah, whenever you have to add something. Yeah.
I'm still real slow at it, but I'm coming along.
You can't do everything. I mean, you gotta focus your energy on some things. So,
I'll try.
Well, that's awesome. Well, Adam, I had you down here not only because I obviously enjoy your T-shirts. I think you've been the longest running friend/sponsor on our website. I think you've been on there for like maybe 3 years now.
Yeah,
since we started.
Since you started.
Yeah. I actually really enjoy the ad now. I think it looks really cool.
You should tell tell the audience that we actually went to high school together too.
Yes. So yeah, we had a prior relationship before Buffalo Eats started, but I also had you down here because I know you love wine and beer, and you actually wrote a couple things for us, a couple beer reviews that were pretty popular, and even you did a 2 or 3-part Adam brews beer. I forgot what we called it, but you chronicled
like a how-to guide,
how to brew beer and things like that. And you did bring a couple of your selections down here, which the American Pale Ale is very tasty.
Oh, thank you. That's with my homegrown hops that I got from
nice
Niagara Tradition.
Very organic of you. So how did this start? Like, have you always been like a big beer and wine guy prior to this, or is this like a recent occurrence? Or
you know, I was your average blue light drinker, you know, your Molson drinker, and I just recently started getting the craft beers when I started doing the reviews back. Was it a couple years now?
Yeah, I think those might have been early 2011, I think. So yeah, so you might have been getting into it before that, but and
then that was when I haven't even started drinking wine either.
Oh, really? Yeah. So even wine's even more recent.
True. And the funny thing is my mom got me into that because her and my aunt started making it on the side. And
really?
I go, really? You know, when somebody first tells you made homemade wine, you kind of get the, I don't know about that.
Yeah. You have like the stomping on grapes or like some just horrible image.
Or it just doesn't sound right when you go to try, you know, homemade. But,
true. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
The stuff that she was making was coming out awesome. And she asked me to help her make a batch, and then I did that, and then I kind of bought all the supplies and equipment on my own.
Yeah.
And started doing the wine thing. And then I was doing more research like I'm always doing, trying to do improvements and changes, and then I saw you could also do beer.
So wine was actually before beer?
Yes.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah. So then I continue the wine too here and there. It's kind of when I have free time.
Yeah. I mean, how long does that take? Because, like, when I think of, like, making wine, like, we just went to, where the hell were we? Johnson Estate Winery. Mm-hmm. And they were showing, like, cases.
Very good wine.
Yeah. And they were showing cases, and, you know, it's, like, stuff that has to sit for, like, a year or something like that. Like, what is is it that long of a process to make homemade wine, or?
There's 2 different ways you can go at it. You can do the kit. which has got the concentrate juice.
Okay.
Or you can go with the straight fresh juice.
Okay.
The kit already has all the concentrated juice with, all the chemicals in it, so it doesn't have to sit as long.
Yeah.
So a kit you can turn around in about a month and have ready to drink wine. Whereas a fresh juice, you have to let it sit and age.
Okay.
And let all the acids, turn over, the pH balance. The longer that sits, the better the taste. So it's two ways.
How long do you usually what's a normal turnaround for you for your wine?
I go back and forth between the juices and the kits, but the kits, I think I brought 2 of the kits with me today.
Okay.
They're about a month.
Okay, so it saves like a little bit. Yeah, it saves a little, cuts into your time. I mean, we tried to make beer once, and
was that one of the Mr. Beer kits?
Yeah, it was one of the Mr. Beer kits, and it's cool and everything, and it's really good for beginners, but it literally skips like 50% of the work.
Sure.
Like you get like a can of like basically like the malt and everything, and you just like it's like a syrup that you just pour in. Like it really. It's a neat experience. I think it helps people to understand beer more. And I think Tommy had some. And this was when he was like, 15 or something like that. So he got a little,
We don't condone underage drinking.
No, not at all. But I think you can make your own. I think you can make your own beer. But anyways, so it was. When we were doing it, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And then when I like actually looked into how do they make beer, I was like, wow, that's not even. So I mean, so beer wise, I mean, how easy was that transition to go from to wine to beer, knowing a little bit about how to do it?
It's really a different process. The beer yields 5 gallons. The kits that Niagara Tradition sells or anywhere else, consumers now too actually sell
Really?
them. Yeah.
I was going to ask you how Buffalo's scene is to try to find all this stuff. I mean, everyone I know Kegworks is amazing. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know if there's really any other big outlets for it.
Consumers is selling them now. They don't have as big of a selection as like Niagara Tradition or Let's Do Wine, which is on Transit Road.
Oh yeah, Let's Do Wine.
And then, but it's a little bit different process because you actually have to boil the wort, right? Yeah. So you're boiling 3 gallons of wort for about like 90 minutes. So that's how long you have to actually cook everything.
Okay.
And then you dump it in a 5-gallon barrel. With the water, and then you pitch the yeast, and then you just let it sit, basically.
Yeah.
And then after that, that's the hardest step, and then the bottling.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you have to like do the plunger thing or whatever. Yeah. I've seen videos. I've never done this myself, but I mean, like you said, you've kind of been a creative guy. You enjoy drawing and things like that. Do you try to express your creativity in the recipes that you're coming up with? I mean, like, now that you've been doing this for probably like a year and a half, 2 years now, are you starting to get a little bit more cocky or creative with your recipes? Like,
I've been mainly sticking to the actual recipes of the kit, but just trying to try the different variations.
Okay.
Like I said, I've tried a lot of craft beer, and when you make your beer, it's a little bit different taste, different flavors, and it's actually almost a better flavor.
Yeah.
But you can't, at least to my knowledge, there isn't any place around here where you can like try the beer before you actually buy the kit.
Oh yeah, that would be convenient.
So I've just been trying different kits. But this batch that I brought over was actually with my homegrown hops.
Okay.
So I grew the hops in my backyard.
How easy was that? Was
it's pretty easy. I mean, you got to water it, but it's a vine.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It gets pretty tall.
Is there anything special you have to do to the hops? Because I mean, I always see those like hop pellets. Like, how did you have to any special process of
this? Actually, I did. It's a process called wet hops.
Okay.
What that means is you cut them right off the vine and you put them into the boil.
Okay.
So it gives it a little bit of earthy flavor.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could taste that at all.
Yeah, I could taste it.
But most of the time, what they do is in a lot of breweries, they cut them down and they dry them on like a low temperature in a kiln.
Okay.
And then they use the dried hops in beers.
Yeah. So I mean, have you like really gotten into this? Like, do you spend a lot of off time like reading into like home brewing and things like
here and
that?
there. I just talk to a lot of the guys a lot at like Niagara Tradition, and then when we went to that brewology,
oh yeah,
they were there too, and you just chat and you learn a little bit tips and tricks.
Yeah. Has it given you a different appreciation for like when you drink like a craft beer? Like, has like actually doing the process made you notice other subtleties and like other beers now when you taste it? Or?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Especially, I visited a couple of breweries now too, and which is always a fun time.
Yeah.
Like Flying Bison, they got a cool setup there.
I actually still have not been there. I suck. Like I'm slacking. It's like right down the street too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, just like seeing the facility and like it gives you like a better appreciation.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Pearl Street and then Ellicottville. Isn't Ellicottville building a huge addition?
Are they?
I think so.
The one in Ellicottville or the one in Fredonia?
I think the one in Ellicottville.
Oh.
I wonder if they're going to increase their capacity.
I hope so, because that place, like, I like going down there in Oktoberfest and all that other stuff, but so do, like, 40,000 other people, like, going down there for Oktoberfest. And so trying to get into that place is a nightmare. It's it is like a fire hazard every time I'm there.
It's almost way better if you just go on an off night, like
I really want
a random Thursday or Wednesday.
I would kill to go there on, like, a day where no one else is there.
Their chocolate cherry stout, they once, in the winter.
Yeah.
I think. Oh, it's amazing.
Is that on your like top 5 list or whatever?
I think I did a review of that too. It
yes,
was
you did.
Really good.
The cherry bomb, right?
Yeah, the cherry bomb.
Yeah, I have not had that yet. I'll have to look.
It's like a chocolate milk, so much better than Guinness, but which is a little bit cherry aftertaste. It goes down so easy.
Goes down so easy. That sounds dangerous.
You're throwing back a couple.
Those things are not light either. I mean, you're drinking a little heavy. Yeah. You're basically drinking bread. At that point, those things are high carb. So, you did bring a cream stout too, didn't you? Want to try it on
sure.
on air here
sure.
and do a little?
Yep, my buddy made that one.
Okay. Oh, so do you have like friends that you collaborate with, or?
We do. I kind of got a lot of my friends into making wine now, and
really.
Beer. So it's fun because we can make batches and then switch out some, so we could try a whole bunch of different other stuff.
See, that's always clutch. Like, when I first got into beer, I worked at Consumers, and so we had, like, a beer club. And so, like, every payday, we would all, like, buy a 6-pack, and then at the end of the night, we just, like, each, like, mix them up. Yeah, and so we went down, like, the whole cooler in, like, 2 months. This is actually a little bit more carbonated than I thought. Oh, that's really good. I haven't had a lot of, like, cream ales and stouts in general. I mean, everyone. I know Jenny Cream is not. I don't think it's really, but I really like that. It's actually a lot lighter than I thought it was. Like, the color is almost a little deceiving. That's nice.
You could taste the chocolate malt.
Mm-hmm. I mean, so have you? Has your palate gotten to a point where you can like start to really decipher these things and
a little bit, and to be honest, I actually like the bitter stuff, the IPAs.
Like as happy as the happier the better.
Yeah, the Southern Tier IPA is one of my favorites. That's a good one.
Yeah. Do you have like a gateway beer? Like, did you have an experience or anything that like made you get into craft beer in to begin with, or?
Just wanted to try other stuff,
Yeah, you just saw that it was like getting more popular. You'd go to a bar and see.
There was that one Discovery Channel show. They don't have it anymore.
With Dogfish Head.
Dogfish Head, yeah.
It was great. They had like 4 episodes.
I think they took it off the air because of an advertising political stance.
I heard like Budweiser or something. We're like, oh, this is great. They have this show that says that macro beers are horrible. We're not going to advertise anymore. No, but that show was great. I bet that had an effect on a lot of people because Sam, whatever his name is,
Calhoun.
Yeah. It's just he's a cool dude. He looks like a total chill, like stoner kind of guy, and the stuff that they do is ridiculous. Like the flavors they use, so I bet a lot of people were like, I bet that tastes good.
Well, their motto is something off-centered ales for off-centered people.
Yeah.
How cool is that slogan?
Yeah, it's a great slogan. I love it. I love that they have it like printed like in huge like letters in their brewery.
And their beers, all their beers are really different too because they use crazy ingredients, and it just gives certain ones distinct flavors. And you may like some of them, and you may really hate some of them.
Oh yeah, I definitely hate some of them. Yeah,
it's just how it is.
Yeah, no, I love for the most part most of their things, but I've had a couple. I can't. The Midas Touch is really hard to drink, but there's a couple that are just like, this is too weird for me. Yeah, I can't do it. Like the Indian brown ale. It's just like some weird thing, and It does not work for me. But like their pumpkin ale, I think is like the best pumpkin ale.
It's coming out soon.
Yeah, I need to get some on top of that.
Yeah. We were just talking about the 120.
Yeah.
And that used to be so hard to get.
Yeah.
Because they didn't actually make a batch last year. It ruined.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They had to dump the entire batch. And so this year it came out, but just real limited quantities. And I think it sells for like $12 a bottle.
Yeah. And that's what's like a regular bottle. That's not like a 20-ounce bottle. That's
a 12-ounce bottle.
Yeah. That's insane.
And it tastes like pure gasoline.
Does it really? I've seen it poured, and it's like it looks like a liquor. It does not look like a beer. It's like that Sam Adams Utopias. Mm-hmm. That thing that's like, a monster concoction that's like 29% alcohol or some crazy number like that. But this is nice. So your buddy made this? Mm-hmm. And so like, do you guys just share tips, like if something goes wrong or something?
Yeah, we help each other out sometimes. We've had batches that have gone bad.
Is there any way to save them? Like, if you're starting to make something, like, and something goes awry, like...
You really can't tell until a couple weeks down the road, because the main thing is you have to keep everything clean.
Yeah, for beer especially.
Yeah, bacteria is what ruins your beer. Or the yeast is bad, or something along those lines.
Wine, it's a little bit more lenient, I feel like.
A little bit. I've actually ruined more beer batches than wine, so I guess you're right. But it'll taste real vinegary and real sour, and it just won't taste right on the palate. And you generally won't be able to tell until a couple weeks in when you measure the specific gravity.
Yeah.
And that's basically what tells you if it ferments or not.
Okay.
So the slogan is that the yeast drops into whatever it's eating, eats the sugar and farts CO2.
Yeah.
So that release turns into alcohol. And the specific gravity will change of the liquid, and that'll basically be your indicator on what the percentage of alcohol is, and if it actually, in fact, turned over.
It sounds so intense. Like, it sounds like I really want to make my own beer, and we have a fair enough amount of space in this basement. I could throw something in there, but I sucked at chemistry, and it's all scary.
It's pretty easy, and I did too, especially in college. I think I got a C in chemistry, but
I did not even take chemistry in college. I stayed far away from chemistry. No, and our dad's a chemist, funny enough, but I don't know. It seems like it's intense, but it's not. Did you have, like, going into it, were you at all, like, intimidated by the process, or were you just like jumped right in?
Just try it,
If I ruin everything, whatever. I'll try it again.
Yeah. You don't learn unless you try, right?
Yeah.
So it's been fun.
Yeah. Getting into, like, more wine and beer is like appreciating, like, the artistry and, like, the different flavors and things like that. Has that translated to, like, your eating habits at all? Like, if you've gotten more adventurous with beer and wine, and has that led to you being more adventurous eater? Or
a little bit. They always have, especially Alkaville always has those the beer and food pairings.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure some of the events you've gone to have done the wine and food pairings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty fun.
But it's interesting that sometimes when you drink a certain item, it gives your food a different flavor.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. And then certain beers, obviously, they recommend different foods.
Yeah.
Like the new winery in Ellicottville. I think it's called Ellicottville Winery. The Winery of Ellicottville.
That would be fair. That would be a good name.
Like their Evil Red, it's a good pairing with pizza.
Really?
It's like, how cool is that?
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess pizza and wine. Yeah, I could get behind that. I see. So have you gotten like do you drink more wine now? Like do you like head to Premier and get like a couple new bottles every week or anything like that? Or
yeah, I actually have a wall of wine in my basement, which I've been building, especially with all the bottles I've been making.
Well, yeah, I went down there and I saw like the ones that you made. I was like, holy shit! Like you have like 50 or something like that. Like you are set. You do not have to buy wine for probably a year if you didn't want to.
Yeah, but I give a lot away as gifts. It's one of those cool things. That you can give away as a Christmas gift or a birthday gift or something of that nature, and it's appreciative too.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, you spent all your energy in making this, and you're giving it to me. That's cool, and a lot of people like them too.
Yeah, nice. Well, we're talking about your wine. I should probably taste some of your wine.
Crack a bottle open.
Let's crack a bottle opener. Oh, I'm gonna do the the Riesling. Now, I just had a couple. I'm going to give this to you because I can't open a bottle of wine for shit. But I actually just had Riesling at Johnson Estate. They had a couple different ones there. Yeah.
And this won't be like this. You should maybe do the other one.
No. They told us that like the one there is like really sweet, and or one was dry. They had a dry one. You said this is dry too.
This
right?
is dry, yeah.
Yeah, and I actually like the dry more than sweet. So you said you're a hoppy beer guy. What do you wine wise?
I like the sweet wine.
Yeah.
I think you can do a little bit more, and I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of heat for that.
Well, it's probably the more elitist would say that, the drier or anything like that. But yeah, so like I really want to get into wine, but like it's super intimidating. We actually just had a podcast guest 2 days ago, and I was talking to her about this exact same thing. Like, where do you start? Like, so when you started like drinking wine, like, how do you even like? I don't even know where to start. Like, you go on a premiere, and there's like 10 different countries at least.
Oh yeah,
and so like many. All these different types. Like, so like, how did you just go at it? Did you just jump around?
To be honest, like my clothing line is how Buffalo it's local. I just started with the local wineries.
That makes sense.
And we've all been, group of friends have been just doing wine tours. And we recently went to Watkins Glen Wine Festival.
Oh.
That was amazing.
A lot of wine.
It was a 2-day festival, which you got one pass just to do unlimited tastings at over 150 wineries.
Yeah.
Some of my friends made it to day 2. Some of them did not.
Jesus Christ. I mean, do you go to those things, do you go to like a wine thing like that and take away ideas from it? Like of things you'd like to try or things like that? Or are you just going there and just getting...
It's weird because, you see wines that really taste good. And then there's other new wines that just are a whole different experience on your palate.
Yeah.
Like some dry wines that I've been getting into has really been good. And I'm not really a dry type of guy. Yeah.
I like this. I like this a lot.
It's a dry Riesling. It's not bad. It's sweet though.
Yeah, it's sweet, but it's still very drinkable. Like, I don't know. I'm a noob. I'm so coming into this, but it's good. Like I could drink this. Some of the dry ones, it just tastes like church. Like I say, it just tastes like church. Like that's all. But this is nice.
Yeah, I would just try different wines. Go to that wine festival. I mean, I highly recommend it. It's a really
I should
good
go
time.
on like just a wine tour and just let loose and just be like.
In a lot of the wineries you go to, they'll tell you, ask you what your preference is.
Yeah.
Or they'll, even if you don't know what your preference is, they'll start you out with something, and then they'll take you down the list, typically from dry to sweet, and then you'll kind of get your favorites. Yeah. And then there's that dessert wine, which is incredibly sweet.
Well,
really high in alcohol.
Yeah, Allie loves, like, it pretty much her go-to wine, period, is dessert wines. Like, that's kind of like her only thing that she really enjoys. But
I actually just got a kit. It's limited edition. They only come out with it this time of year. It's a chocolate raspberry port.
Jesus Christ.
It's really dark. It's purple. I think it's a dark, deep purple, and it's 20%.
That sounds ridiculous.
I'm stoked about it.
I've
had it before, but it was in like a 12-ounce bottle, because if it's in a full bottle, you can't drink it. It's just so much. Like, it's really rich, and that 12-ounce bottle, you have a glass, and you'll get a really good buzz going on.
Nice. Well, this is really good. I enjoy this a lot. I mean, do you ever have... I mean, there's so many more loops and paperwork and things like that, but I mean, you enjoy selling your t-shirts. Have you ever even considered like trying to sell bottles of wine or
No, I just do it for fun.
Yeah.
That's one of those things that just do it completely out of my funness.
So this is your other hobby. Well, I guess I wouldn't say my Buffalo. That's a company, but I mean, this is your hobby when you're not doing one of your 2 jobs that consume 70 hours a week.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's a nice hobby though, because I mean, it's a lot of work up front, and then a lot of just kind of sitting back and letting it do its own thing. So you really don't have to.
It's really a simple process. You put a couple hours in. The timing of it is everything, and then you can enjoy it. The wine makes 6 gallons, so you have somewhere around 30 bottles of wine.
Nice.
After every batch, so
that's a lot. Jesus Christ. I mean, it must be like way cheaper than just buying 30 bottles of wine.
Oh, it absolutely is.
That's probably a nice added benefit to it.
And that's also part of it too. I mean, wine can be expensive. Definitely the different bottles that you can get or they offer depending on the price.
Yeah.
But a lot of the local stuff is really, really good. They've only been getting more and more wineries around here, and they've been growing, and the flavors have been getting better and better because based on the competitive nature, they want to get the better quality.
Yeah.
So the better quality is always the one that sells better.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. So I figure we should start to wrap up and talk about my Buffalo shirt again. And
after we had a couple.
Yeah, after we've had a couple. Let's get into the real stuff. Let's get into real talk. No, but I mean, you've been doing this for 4 years, and you've been doing the even the previous shirt company for even longer than that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is there any urge inside of you to ever do like open up a store shop or go put all your chips into the middle and go full into this thing, or I mean, I know you're content with always having this be just a nice little side project, but is there any part of that in you that like
you know, to tell you the truth, I get asked that question a lot, and I always think about it, don't get me wrong. And it's always one of those things where I really enjoy the balance that I have right now.
Yeah,
it's kind of the best of both worlds, where I have a full-time job, which is almost a guarantee, but it's not, you know, any job isn't really a guarantee. But
as much as it can be.
You're also working for the man, you know?
Yeah.
But where my company is that I'm my own boss.
Yeah.
I enjoy that aspect. Being able to control, you know, how the direction wants to head into. And, you know, I have talked about it and just see where it goes, you know?
I mean, ideally, like if it keeps, you know, at an upward pace, like it could be foreseeable. Like you could, but I mean, there's a lot of I would dream, like my dream is that Buffalo Eats could ever become a job.
Sure.
But I know it probably never will, but I'll just do it just for the hell of it because it's fun, and I get to meet people, and you know, I'm
just afraid that if you ever actually make it my sole job, it would have to be almost feeling that you're forcing to do it to make the money rather than enjoying it.
Yeah, because I mean everything. Yeah, because then now
it's a different philosophy, a different way of doing things, right?
Yeah, selling a shirt now is like, oh, I sold a shirt. Selling a shirt then is like, why didn't I sell 5 shirts?
Absolutely.
It's a totally different. Yeah, I could totally understand that part. Yeah,
and it's always tough, especially in New York State, to own your own business, especially with the taxes and we'll see. I like where I'm at right now. I really do, and you get the benefit. I really enjoy people out there who are actually wearing the shirts. And
do you get like a good amount of feedback or anything like that? Like...
Oh, absolutely. Maybe a little bit too much sometimes, but...
Oh, really? I mean, like, when you're at a 10 or things like that, do people come up to you and be like, yeah, dude, I own like 3 of your shirts. I love it. Like,
absolutely. I get people that come out of the woodwork and be like, oh, I saw you guys are coming here from Facebook, and we searched you down, kept on looking, running around the neighborhood, and we finally found you just to get this shirt. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And then, I get people like, oh, that's a cool shirt, but can I have that on the back of the shirt, not the front of the shirt? Like, no, it only comes on the front, sir. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you got to put up, your be nice professional face when you're talking to people.
Oh, yeah, you never want to, call a guy a jackass or anything like that. That's not going to work out well at all, especially with Twitter and Facebook. Those things will not pan out. I mean, but... So, I mean, where do you see the company going forward? I mean, do you have ideas storming in your head for, like, more designs and more... I mean, do you want to keep going to more events and putting your face out there? Or?
I do. I definitely have more ideas, especially all the suggestions I got from all these festivals. And
so are people like literally coming up to you and being like, why don't you have a blank shirt?
Oh, absolutely. For example, they see the Polish shirt, they see the Irish shirt, and it's always like, why don't you have an Italian shirt? Why don't you have a German shirt? And you're always like, well... I'm working on it. Or it'll be soon, or whenever I have time.
Yeah, seriously. But so I mean, like there's more ideas brewing in your head for next year and so on and so on.
And that's the cool thing about it is too, because you're never limited, and there's always so many ideas out there.
Yeah.
To come up with a different Buffalo themed T-shirt.
Yeah.
And Buffalo has such a cool variety of items and a long history that you could always pull something and use it as a shirt design.
Oh yeah. I mean, but is there a little bit of a difficulty added of not having the ability to infringe on copyright? I mean, because the coolest thing about your shirts, I mean, besides that, I think that they look really cool and that the quality is fantastic, is that you invoke the Sabres and the Bills and the Bandits and things like that, but without actually, there's nothing on your shirt that looks like any of their logos or anything like that. Like you invoke that spirit, but you do it in a different creative way. Like
absolutely, and it's that off-centered kind of attitude that we're stemming from Dogfish Head, is that it's not the Bills logo, but it's a little bit different, and it's walking that fine line.
Yeah.
Of being distinctly different.
Yeah.
That
but somebody could see that and be like, oh, that's a guy who likes the Bills in Buffalo.
With a little edge, you know?
With a little edge. I like that. So I mean, do you have any big things that we should look for in the coming months, or anything that you'd want to pimp or
I'm always working on stuff, doing a little tweaks, making changes, making improvements to my shirts, and the designs that I always come up organically, and I never force them, so they'll always pop up. I'll start working on something, and then either I don't like it, so it gets put away, or it goes into an actual shirt. So you don't. But I definitely want to come out with like a retro shirt.
A retro Buffalo-ish?
Something along those lines.
Nice.
Something different.
That'd be cool. I could see that working.
I mean, I'll tell you, I'm going to try to come out with a new design in the next coming months, but we'll see what happens.
You have your work. You have the ground stages working. And what is the normal turnaround? Just out of curiosity, of like when you come up with an idea. Like, are some shirts like you've got it and it's like a week, and are there some shirts that took you like 6 months?
Absolutely. You know, some designs are way easier to do than others. Some are way easier to print than others, and it just kind of comes and goes. It's like, you know, when you write a book, you get writer's block. Same with designing, and you could always tweak something. And whenever I design something, I take a look at it. And I'm like, I don't like this, I don't like that, and I tweak it. And then I sleep on it, and then I wake up and I'm like, oh, I still don't like this. I got to tweak it and do different color variations.
Wow.
If you ever realize it would drive you nuts. You're like, just pick one.
It's the littlest tiny things that
Absolutely.
You're just like agonizing over. That's crazy. Well, Adam, thank you so much for coming down here, for bringing some delicious drinks that we'll enjoy for us through the rest of the night, and keep up the good work with the shirts, man. I appreciate that you've always supported Buffalo Eats, and I'm more than happy to support you guys. So
I greatly appreciate the invite, Don. Thank you.
All right.